New York City, the Big Apple. There is just nowhere on earth quite like it. And look, I get it. For a first-timer, it can feel, well, a little overwhelming. But don't you worry. I'm here to help you navigate it all. Welcome to Planet in Your Pods, where we help you get the most out of your travels. Today, we're going to break down the 7 absolute, non-negotiable, must-do experiences that will make your very first trip completely unforgettable. These are the moments that just scream New York City. Okay, so let's just dive right in with those big, iconic sites. You know, the ones that are practically burned into our brains from all the movies and postcards. That brings us to the #1 thing to do. And it's an absolute classic for a reason. Walking across the Brooklyn Bridge. This isn't just a bridge, it's an experience. I mean, this thing opened way back in 1883. Those towers, that web of steel cables, it's just a total masterpiece. Now, listen up, because this is the one tip that will completely make or break this experience for you. Most tourists, they start in Manhattan and walk over to Brooklyn. You are not going to do that. You want to start in Brooklyn and walk towards Manhattan. Why? Because you get that jaw-dropping, unbelievable view of the skyline right in your face for the entire walk. Seriously, trust me on this one. It's a game changer. And you know what the best part is? It's completely 100% free. And it's so easy to do. It's just a little over a mile long. So you're looking at maybe 30, 40 minutes if you're taking your time. My pro tip, go early in the morning. You'll miss the huge crowds, and you'll get that gorgeous morning light hitting the skyscrapers. It is easily one of the best bangs for your buck, or, well, lack of buck, in the entire city. That brings us to the #2 thing to do, exploring Central Park. And I don't mean just, a quick 5-minute stroll. This isn't just a park. It's this massive green oasis, 843 acres, literally carved out of the concrete jungle. To give you some perspective, it's bigger than the entire country of Monaco. Yeah, wild, right? So since the park is so huge, you kind of need a game plan. I'd say first you have to head for Bethesda Terrace and that famous fountain. You'll know it from a million movies. Then take a quiet moment at Strawberry Fields, the memorial to John Lennon. For my favorite skyline view from inside the park, you got to climb up Umpire Rock. And of course, you have to see the mall and the beautiful Cherry Hill Fountain, which, let's be honest, everyone just calls the Friends Fountain now, even though the real one was on a studio lot. All right, that brings us to the #3 thing to do. You absolutely have to see this city from above. There's just something about looking down at that grid of streets, the rivers, the famous skyscrapers. It's a view that will stick with you forever. But that leads to the big question, right? The one every first-timer asks. You've got the Empire State Building, top of the Rock, the newer ones like the Edge, Summit. So which one is the best? Which one should you pick? For a first-timer, look, I have a very clear favorite. It's Summit 1 Vanderbilt. It's the newest one, and it's so much more than just a view. It's this whole immersive art experience with these incredible kind of mind-bending mirror rooms. But for me, the real clincher is you get one of the absolute best, most perfect front and center views of the Empire State Building itself. All right, all that walking and sightseeing is going to work up an appetite. So let's switch gears and talk about the essential tastes of the city, because you really can't say you've done New York until you've eaten like a New Yorker. And that brings us to the #4 thing to do. And this, my friends, is a pilgrimage. You have got to get a pastrami on rye at Katz's Delicatessen. This place it's just legendary, and it is no joke to call it an institution. Katz has been slinging some of the best deli food on the Lower East Side since 1888. The whole vibe inside, it's loud, it's chaotic, it's wonderful. Watching those guys behind the counter expertly slice that meat is pure theater. You're literally eating a piece of New York history. Okay, let's talk about the price. A sandwich is going to cost you about $27. And I know, that sounds pretty steep. But, and this is the all-important pro tip, that sandwich is piled so ridiculously high with meat that it is easily enough for 2 people to share. So grab a buddy, split one, and all of a sudden you've got a world-famous meal for a totally reasonable price. Okay, that brings us to the #5 thing to do. You cannot, and I repeat, you cannot leave New York City without getting a real, authentic slice of pizza. It's just a rite of passage. So how do you spot the real deal? Well, the classic New York slice has a thin crust that's just crisp enough on the bottom but still soft enough to fold in half. Then you've got the Sicilian slice. That's the thick, rectangular, airy one. My personal diehard favorite is the spicy pepperoni Sicilian at Prince Street Pizza. Oh my God, it is just incredible. And the vibe is just as important. You're looking for a no-frills kind of place, you order at the counter, and it's still one of the best, tastiest, cheapest meals you can get in the city. Okay, let's move on to experiences that are maybe a little deeper than just sightseeing and food. These are the moments that really connect you to the culture, to the very soul of the city. The kind of things that stick with you long after you've flown home. That brings us to the number 6 thing to do, and it is an absolute must. You have to see a Broadway show. I mean, there's just nothing that compares to the energy of the theater district, that buzz in the air before the curtain goes up. It is the quintessential New York night out. But with what, over 40 theaters? How do you possibly choose? Well, for your first time, my advice is super simple. First, pick a musical. They're just big, spectacular, high-energy fun. Second, choose one of the classic hits. A show like The Lion King or Wicked has been a smash hit for years for one simple reason. They are phenomenal. And the most important tip of all, be on time. I'm not kidding. A lot of theaters have a super strict no late seating policy, and you do not want to be stuck waiting in the lobby. And that brings us to the number 7 thing to do. Now, this is the most profound experience on the list. It's one that you'll want to approach with some time and a lot of respect. And that's a visit to the 9/11 Memorial and Museum. The memorial itself, with the 2 reflecting pools sitting right in the footprints of the Twin Towers, is just incredibly powerful. The sound of the water cascading down seems to muffle the sounds of the city around you. And while the memorial is a beautiful and somber place for reflection, I really do recommend visiting the museum downstairs. It tells the story of that day through artifacts and personal stories. It's intense, for sure, but it is an essential visit to really understand a piece of history that didn't just shape this city, but our entire world. So, there you have it, your first trip checklist. Let's run through it one more time. Number 1, walk the Brooklyn Bridge, starting from Brooklyn for that view. 2, explore the highlights of Central Park. 3, get that incredible bird's eye view from Summit 1 Vanderbilt. 4, share a massive pastrami sandwich at Katz's. 5, eat a real foldable slice of New York pizza. 6, get blown away by a Broadway musical. And 7, take a moment for quiet reflection at the 9/11 Memorial. Do these 7 things, and you'll have had the perfect first trip to New York City. That's all for now, folks. Please like, share, and subscribe for more like this.